So again, those A-type, high-achieving personalities are the kind that think more, harder, better, longer, stronger all the time. And you're actually doing yourself a disservice because you're going to start to shut down. Your body's going to start to give you these feedback symptoms. It's going to start kicking things back to you, telling you you're not operating as good as you should be. You may notice that you have a little brain fog. You may notice that your energy's down, changes in your skin, changes in your mood. Like all of those kind of things are things that your body's trying to tell you you need to change it up. So actually learning how to get into what we call the parasympathetic state, which is the rest and digest state, more times throughout the day will make you a better leader. It will make you a more high achieving individual because you're learning how to balance yourself better and you're keeping those hormones down in optimal levels. Okay, so coming back to those three things: regular sleep schedules. Now I know those that have the swing.
You're listening to the First Class Life Show, hosted by Lindsey Vertner, a holistic personal development show for high-achieving leaders who desire to maximize their impact while creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. So grab a drink, grab your notebook, and let's get started. Hey, First Class family. Please be aware that this episode does contain a few audio and/or video technical difficulties that couldn't be corrected without losing the valuable content. We don't strive to be perfect, but we do strive for excellence. And it's most important to us that you are served despite this minor obstacle. Thank you so much for your patience with this episode. Enjoy the show. Hey, First Class family. Welcome to another episode of the First Class Life Show. I am your host, Lindsey Vertner, and I'm super excited to be here yet again with you. I know that you are a high achieving leader and you're out there doing amazing things, making a big impact in the world. So we want to make sure that we hop right into the conversation so that you can continue to maximize your impact while creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness, which is a first class life. Yes. Make sure you do all the things as you are listening to this episode. Subscribe, comment, like, share, share your insights that you're getting from the episode on social media. And don't forget to tag us, myself and our very special guest that we're going to chat with here today, because sharing is caring. Not everybody, unfortunately, is familiar with this show, okay? So we got to let them know all of the good gems that we are getting to help in our personal development journey. So let's go ahead and get started. Today we have Cynthia Williams, and she's going to tell you about herself, okay? I've got a moment to get to know her backstage, and we're going to chat about some of the things that she has overcome in her life. So welcome, Cynthia. How are you?
Good. Thank you very much for having me today.
Absolutely. So I've been able to get a better understanding of your story and some of the things that you've been through, but I want you to share with the First Class family, who is Cynthia? Who's this Cynthia Williams girl? Give us the good tea.
Okay. Obviously I'm Cynthia Williams. I'm a mom first and foremost, and I'm that's probably the biggest thing that I'm most proud of, and it has changed my life dramatically. It changed the trajectory of my life. I was told I would never get pregnant, and I had my miracle baby at the age of 41 while I was actually I was competing in my very first bodybuilding show at the same time. It's an absolute crazy story. I was 12 weeks pregnant when I was on stage and had zero idea I was pregnant. I actually thought I was in menopause. My husband thought I had cancer. That's how far being pregnant was off the radar for us, for everything that we had been through. We were actually starting the adoption process, et cetera, et cetera. And after my bodybuilding show was over, you lose your cycle when you do a bodybuilding show because you go to such low body fat percentage, it takes away your cycle. So I just thought this was part of the show. I had actually taken 3 pregnancy tests. They came back negative, blah, 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 blah. So about 8 weeks after the show, my cycle still had not come back once my body fat had resumed and I was back on, my normal schedule and all that kind of stuff. So I went to the doctor to get a hormone panel run because, again, I thought I had knocked myself into menopause. I thought I'd royally screwed up my hormones by doing this competition at the age I was. And I found out I was pregnant. And I couldn't believe it. I had no idea. They had to do an ultrasound because I had no idea how far along I was, like nothing. And I was 17 weeks pregnant when I found out I was pregnant. So I was close to like almost halfway through my pregnancy before I ever found out. But anyway, so she's a miracle baby, and it's just, that's why I'm just so proud of that. I'm so proud of that story, and just, it was huge hurdle for me and whatever. So I'm a mom. I'm also a business owner, an entrepreneur. I live, breathe, and eat women's health, nutrition. I can't get enough of it, and learning about it, helping women because of a lot of the experiences I had with birth control and not being told I couldn't get pregnant and a lot of other things that have gone on in my life. I know that there's more answers than what the doctors are giving us. And I'm not knocking doctors. That's not what it is. But I do think that our medical system is set up for more reactive care versus preventative and educational. So I've made it a mission to help women understand their bodies, to understand their blood work, to understand how nutrition can affect their abilities to have children, their fertility, other diagnoses, PCOS, endometriosis, like all that kind of stuff. And so I just have a real big passion about it, because I have seen with clients how it can improve and we can change life. And then again, from personally experiencing a lot of these things myself and knowing that there has to be other answers, so again, I've kind of gone off, but that's kind of who I am. Excuse me. I'm a mom, and I'm a integrative nutritionist that came to it from the passion of life experiences, of having just a lot of stuff happen to me and just knowing, man, this isn't right. I know there has to be other answers or other ways to get where I want to go, and finding those ways for myself, and then now trying to educate other women and help them feel and live and be their best. I'm 44 years old now, and I'm in better shape than I was in my 20s. I'm healthier than I was in my 20s. I feel like I look better than I did in my 20s because I've taken care of myself. I have tons of energy. I don't drink caffeine during the day, all of those kind of things. And when women were told, I'm not sure how old you are, but you're told when you get to a certain age, oh, that's just part of aging. Oh, you have to accept your body looking this way. Oh, you have to accept, low libido and your skin being dry, and you have to accept the body. And that's what they're told in the doctor. They're like, it's part of aging. And, their answers are to throw a Xanax at you to get you to calm down, and things like that. And I just want, you don't have to. You don't have to. You can look and feel fantastic in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s. It's just a matter of being educated about your body, how you take care of your body. When your body is talking to you, actually listening to the things that your body's telling you, and learning how to pivot or make changes to keep you feeling your best and keep you going without being on 13 medications. So that's a lot about me. That's a whole lot. But that is me. That's me in a nutshell. If you can't tell, I live, breathe, and eat this. I am so passionate about just helping women be smart and be your own health advocate, basically.
And I love that. There's so many different things that we can talk about. I do feel like I need to give this disclaimer, though, to the First Class family, because I feel like today's episode is going to be very female-centered. And if you are a male listener right now, hey, don't tune out. Stay tuned in, okay? Because one, I almost guarantee that a female in your life.
I can from a male perspective. I've had several males that I've worked with to help them when their wife is in that situation. So definitely don't tune out, especially if you have a wife that's perimenopause or menopausal and stuff like that, because it is a breaking point for a lot of relationships. And so when men have an understanding of actually what their wife is going through, and they can be supportive and help them, then, together they can go through it, because it's a lot. We go through a lot, we have a lot of hormonal changes that really affect us in our quality of life. And if you are with a partner and you are in these phases of your life or whatever, and if they can just have an understanding of what's going on, then it can make your relationship so much better, so much stronger. and you can offer up, if you're listening to it and it's your male and you hear some good tidbits, you can offer up to your wife, hey, maybe you should go check this out, or maybe you should go read this if you're feeling this way, like if you're not getting the answers you want from your doctor. Absolutely, males should be just as educated about the female body.
Yes, because y'all like it, right?
Right.
Learn about the things you like.
Right.
And I'm sure if you don't have a spouse, you got a sister, mother, cousin, friend, coworker, somebody. So,
hey, I know it can be exhausting blazing the trail and creating a legacy. And you're at the point in your life where you desire peace and rest. You want to enjoy both the physical freedom and financial freedom to live life on your terms. You understand the importance of prioritizing your self-care. And you know that you're worthy of transformational experiences surrounded by other high-achieving, goal-oriented women just like you. That's why you deserve to be treated like VIP at the First Class Life Luxury Self-Care Retreat for Women. You deserve to show up and just be you. Away from the titles and roles that keep you busy from day to day. You deserve the luxury to fully unplug. It's time for you to embrace your first class life. Visit firstclassliferetreats.com to secure your VIP spot today, because you deserve it.
Ooh, let's get into this conversation. So you mentioned that you were 41 when you found out you were pregnant, and this was also your first go at bodybuilding, correct? Or had you had previously done it?
Well, I've always been in fitness and nutrition, but this was my first actual physique competition. Yes, going into it and actually doing the prep work and the training, which is, you want to talk about discipline. Those are disciplined individuals that participate in that.
Ooh, I bet. I can only imagine what that is like. And so in hearing you say that, the first thing that comes to my mind, because I know you mentioned they say, oh, after a certain age, you can't have children. And, there's all these societal time limits on things. You should be married by this time, go to school and get an education at this time, and yada, yada, yada. And you being 41 in your first actual physique competition and your first pregnancy, it's so funny because I had just seen a movie. And she was in her 40s and she was pregnant, and her husband had said, your geriatric pregnancy. And she was like, don't say that, because I don't like that term. Who says I'm geriatric? So I say all that to say, age is what you make it. Like you said, you feel better, you look better than you did in your 20s. And actually 40s is pretty young, but society makes us feel like it's old. So what were some of the battles or struggles that you maybe had during that time frame, maybe with naysayers or people that doubted your capabilities to do it? What were some of those struggles that you went through?
First was, they do call, over the age of 35, if you're pregnant, they do call you a geriatric pregnancy, which I don't understand that, because my schooling, I'm actually an occupational therapist as well. And I worked in the geriatric community, which is typically 60 and 65 and older. So I'm like, why can we not come up with a better term? Why is it called geriatric? We're 35 years old. We're young. We're vibrant. Why are we putting geriatric term on this young age? But anyways, yes, they do it. It makes you feel terrible. But a lot of it was the doctors. When my husband and I, because I got married later. I got married at the age of 37. And so, we started to try to have a family, and we did all the things because we were older. We went and got a lot of the testing done and things like that to make sure that we could have a healthy baby and stuff. And through that testing is where we found out that the likelihood of me carrying a child was very, very slim. And so the doctors just, they push, going to a fertility clinic, or that's about it. Here's your options. Go to a fertility clinic, or just don't. It's very, they're just not very resourceful. They're not helpful. They're not empathetic, in my experience. This is my experience in my community with my doctor. And so we visited the fertility clinics and we did our research there, and we just felt like that's not the route that was right for us. We felt, here we are in a situation where there's lots of children that need homes, and we have the opportunity now, you know, we can't have one of our own, but we have the opportunity to provide a home for a child that cannot have it on their own. So we started going the adoption route, and there's a lot of pushback going that way too, just from family, from friends, like, do you know how hard this is going to be? Do you know how expensive this is going to be? But, you know, just all these kinds of things, because everybody's got their opinion about what you should do, right? So it was a lot. I mean, it was very, I felt like a failure in a sense too, because I couldn't have a child. It makes, you know, it takes a toll on a woman when you're told this, you know, and you're doing all these things, and it just makes you feel less than. In a sense, it shouldn't, but you feel like as a woman, one of your jobs is to have children, you know. I mean, that's what you have the equipment to do it, and when you want to do it, you should be able to do it. So I can empathize. I have a lot of clients that come to me trying to get in a healthier state to have children, and I love working with them because I can empathize with it. I know those feelings. I know what the doctors are telling you at that. I know the pushback that you're getting and how hard that can be on you doing that. And then, yes, going through adoption and getting that pushback from family, from friends, from adoption companies as well. Like a lot of them, and I don't know if they have their walls up a little bit because they probably get a lot of people coming in the door and they don't follow through, or they, you know, and so they have to have their walls up because they're protecting the children, rightfully so, but they're not opening, like they don't have open arms. They're not as nice as can be with you coming in and kind of stuff. It's almost like they put you through a hazing period of sorts to make sure you're legit, you're really here for it, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So that just drains you as well, you know, going through all of this kind of stuff. And it's a lot. It is a lot. And so why not, when you're being dogged in every area of your life, go into a bodybuilding competition where you choose to make your life a living hell, basically, and do it. But everything happens for a reason, you know. I'm very disciplined. I like challenges. That's how I roll. That's how I keep going. I have to have goals constantly, or else like we're just flailing around, you know. And so I feel like I probably picked that because I needed something to focus on while I had all this other stuff going on around me that I could just kind of lose myself in, basically, you know, because I can't control how fast the adoption goes. I can't control not being able to have a child or whatever, but, you know, I can just get in the lane and get in the process and keep the things moving. But I can control what I do with my body and how I reach this goal, if that makes sense. And I think that's what I was thinking at that time.
Yes, yes. You know, something stood out to me as you were talking where you said you felt like a failure. And I know for women specifically, that can be such a high marker for us when we feel like we aren't able to do different things that society tells us that we should do, or the expectations of other people around us, or even the expectations that we sometimes put on ourselves, is that we feel like a failure. And so, and then as leaders, for all of the high achieving leaders out there, that just like doubles everything to be a woman and a leader, and then a male as a leader as well. But, you know, just living up to those standards and feeling like, oh, I didn't make it. And so now feeling like a failure. So what were some of the tools or things that you did to overcome that feeling? Because we know that it never truly just goes away completely. We learn how to manage it and how to control it instead of letting it control us. So what were some ways that you did that?
Yeah, I mean, I still feel like failure probably once a week, you know. Business owner, I mean, I think any business owner, at some point you do, like, you're not, even if you are successful, when you hit a certain point, you want more, right? And it's like, how do I get there? And if I don't get there, am I failing? You know, we're never like happy in the moment with what we've achieved. We're always looking for more. But when I was going through that therapy, I think therapy is fantastic. And I think it's probably underutilized. I think it's very short-staffed. You know, at least where I live, it's very hard to get with a therapist, like the wait list to get in, because it's such, we don't have enough of them for the population, you know, that's needed. But therapy first and foremost. And I will recommend that to clients over and over again, because you have to have an outlet that's unbiased, They don't know a thing about you. They have no judgment about you. All they're there to do is listen to your story, make you think in other ways about the way you're approaching your life, you're approaching situations, to help you maneuver, navigate. I feel like I'm a person that I don't feel, when life is hard, yeah, it sucks. It sucks. But I'm not looking at like, why is this happening to me? I'm looking, what am I supposed to be learning from this? And sometimes you need somebody to help you stay in that mindset, because when a lot of things pile on you at one time, it's very easy to like get knocked down for a minute and kind of sulk in it and not keep moving as forward like you should, or whatever it may be. And so I'm a huge proponent for therapy, of helping you like grab you by your bootstraps, get yourself up, and, get going, because nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Nobody's going to do this for you. You have to work through this on your own. So therapy is the first thing. Next is reading and podcasts. Anything I can do to educate myself on anything that's going on, to help me smarter, to help me make better decisions, to help me navigate it better. That's, again, like prior to the pregnancy thing and stuff, I had some stuff probably about 10 years prior to that, again, with birth control and how it affected my body and the answers I was getting, and I was having terrible reactions to it, etc. That's what kicked off me with women's nutrition. And that's what, just started reading and podcasts and asking other people questions, other professionals, and attending conferences. Anything that I could do to help me elevate myself, I feel like is a great way to work your way through failure. Instead of just sitting in it, what can you do to make yourself better, so that, failure is going to happen again at some point. It's inevitable. You're always going to fail somehow, some way. But if you have better tools to maneuver it the next time, I feel like your ability to handle it is better. It's not going to make it not suck. It's not going to make it not hard. But if your toolbox is getting more and more full as you go through life, you're able to adapt, maneuver, pivot, whatever it takes to help you, get through that situation better and come out of it without it letting just beat you down like a dog.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of beating down like a dog, you also mentioned feeling very drained.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to the leader out there that is feeling drained and overwhelmed and like, I don't know how I'm going to keep pushing through?
Take care of yourself. A big one is sleep. I started really prioritizing sleep and not having erratic sleep schedules, like getting in bed at the same time every night, getting up at the same time every day, no matter what, getting water in, movement, walking. I cannot tell. Walking is probably the most underrated, but it is so good for so many things, mentally and physically, is walking. Get out, get with your thoughts. Like, too many people, I don't know if you've experienced this, I experience it a lot, especially when working with clients when it comes to weight loss. They're very uncomfortable sitting in their feelings. They're like, how can I get out of this as quick as possible? Versus sitting in it, addressing it, figuring out what's going on, then you move forward. And I think walking is a great tool for getting out there and just sitting in your thoughts, running through your day, running through how everything went, how you could do this better, how you want to do this. I've gotten some of my best ideas walking. Walking will get me kick-started again. I'll come back home and I've got 30 notes going of what I want to do, this, that, and the other. But those would probably be my 3 biggest things that I recommend for anybody when they're trying to get started with a health journey, or they're trying to get through hard times, is just get your sleep cycle. No matter what, stick to a sleep cycle. Don't stay up all night on social media, on your phone, and then you end up sleeping in till 10, 11 a.m., and then you just feel like dog crap the next day. Don't do it. As hard as it is, stick to a sleep cycle. Get your water in. Okay, when we're hydrated, our brain works better, our digestion works better, our heart works better, and when things are working better, we feel better. And then just walk. Get your steps in. Just get out there. I don't care how cold it is. I live in Louisville, Kentucky, and the last 3 days it's been -7, -6. It's been freezing out here. I still went out and got my walk in. My walks were shorter, but I still got out there and I got my steps in because I know I need it. For mentally to stay, up and on top of it and just to be feeling good. I know I have to get those steps in. I know I have to get outdoors. I know I have to get fresh air in my face. And there's tons of studies talking about just getting outside and being in the sunshine, being outside walking, again, what it can do for your health and setting up your circadian cycles, because our eyes need the vitamin D from the sun to make melatonin to help us sleep at night. So again, these are underrated things. People don't think that they do a lot, but other than walking, they think walking, they think physical. It's mental, physiological, like there's so many benefits to it to help you be a healthier person and function and get through these rough times.
Yeah, I like that. And I think I want to point out not to be on your phone, whether talking or on your phone. I feel like that kind of pulls away from some of the natural purposes and benefits of walking. Would you agree with that?
I say, I don't want you on, when I tell my clients, I don't want you on social media or any answering emails or anything like that. But that's a great time to do an audiobook. That's a great time to do a podcast. For me, the only time I can read right now is when I walk. And that's why that's one thing, that's one of my non-negotiables is I do get that walking every day because my day is so hectic with work and then having a 3-year-old in life. When I hit the bed at night, that's it. I'm done. I can't keep my eyes open to read. So I have 15 to 30 minutes every day set aside where I get a walk in and I have an audiobook or a podcast on. But those audiobooks and podcasts are things that are for self-improvement. They're things that I'm learning from. I'm not listening to the latest dish on some stupid celebrity. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? I'm using it. So yes, I tell my clients, I want you on things that you're using to help clear up here and make up here stronger, better, more mindful, things like that. Other than that, no social media, no emails, no, it honestly drives me crazy when I'll pass people walking and they're on their phone talking the entire time they're walking. I'm like, just separate yourself from everybody for just 15 minutes. Just be here for 15 minutes, but yeah, that's my philosophy. As long as it's something for self-improvement, absolutely get it in.
I love that. I know the times that I've gone for a walk, if I've been on the phone versus not on the phone, it definitely makes a difference in how I feel after the walk. So I totally get that. So,
are you loving the First Class Live Show? Then join our private Patreon community. Not only will you help to support our ability to provide you with great content, but you can also get exclusive perks like bonus videos and resources, discounts, episode transcripts, and more. So what are you waiting for? Join today at patreon.com/firstclasslife. Again, that's Patreon, patreon.com/firstclasslife.
I think right now would be a great time to take a pause from the conversation and play a little game. Are you up for a game?
Sure.
Okay. Let me get
Girl.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So this is called First Class Favorites. All right. And how it works is very, very simple. I'm going to say, what is your favorite? Fill in the blank. And then you'll fill in the blank. Easy peasy, right? But you got to answer in 10 seconds or less.
Okay.
So if you miss the buzzer, then you have to give everyone a consequence, whatever it is that you want it to be, whether that's 10 push-ups, an additional 5 minutes added to your walk, compliment somebody you don't like, take a shot at tequila. You get to make it whatever you want because whether it's a positive or negative consequences is going to be a matter of perspective anyway.
Okay. So I have to do these consequences is what you're saying?
All of us.
Oh, everybody does. Okay.
You get to pick what the consequence is.
Okay.
So I'll give you a second to think about it.
Okay.
And then what will be our consequence if you miss the buzzer?
You have to walk for 10 minutes for the next 7 days. 10 minutes a day.
Okay.
And the walking has to be like we just said, no social media, no emails, either no phone or something for self-betterment.
Got it. Okay, y'all got that, First Class family? Okay, so we'll start with something easy. What is your favorite season and why? Go.
Summer, beaches, shorts, swimsuits.
Warm heat, yes. Okay, see, that wasn't so hard, right? What is your favorite relaxing activity to do? Go.
Again, probably by the beach, just chilled out, reading a book.
What's your favorite book? Go.
Oh gosh, honestly, my favorite book right now is Atomic Habits. It is phenomenal.
I have that book right on my bookshelf over there. You got that one. I just didn't push stop. Atomic Habits. Who's the author of that one again?
Oh, I gotta pull it up. I'd have to pull it up. I can't remember his name.
Put on my binoculars and I can't find it quick enough.
But it highly recommend. Simple read, fantastic, easily to apply into your life.
Yes, author of Atomic. This is why we love James Clear.
James Clear, yeah, duh.
James Clear, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Okay, what's your favorite song, artist and title? Go.
Favorite song, probably will go Kashmir by Led Zeppelin.
Oh, Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. Got it. So, y'all, she is killing these, okay? What's your favorite food specifically?
Mexican.
That was easy.
Ceviche, easy. Chips and salsa, easy.
What's your favorite drink? Can't say water. Go.
Oh, well, I don't drink anything but water. Sparkling water. Decaf coffee. There you go. Decaf. That's the other thing I drink. I don't drink.
Okay.
I literally don't drink anything but water.
Nice. So I just tried a new water. Like literally yesterday was my first time having it. I bought it at the Sam's Club. Do you guys have a Sam's Club?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I bought it at Sam's Club a couple days ago. I don't quite remember the name. I think there's a K in the name. It might even start with the K. But it's like an 18-ounce water bottle, and it's a probiotic water. And at the very top of the lid, like you push down the cap and it releases the probiotics so that they're not like sitting stagnant, you know, right. And then you shake it up and you drink it. So it was good. Yeah, it tastes like flavored water. The one I tried yesterday was blueberry lemonade. It tastes like, you know, have you ever had Hint waters?
Yes. Yeah. Hint. Yeah.
It kind of tastes like Hint, but it's a probiotic water. So yeah, check it out. I wish I knew the name. I would have to run to my kitchen and go look really fast. Okay. Back to the game. Let's do your favorite movie. Go.
Okay, well I don't really watch movies. I don't really watch TV. But if I had to go with one that I would sit down and watch no matter if it was on, probably Pretty Woman.
Okay, Julia Roberts. Yes. And you barely made the buzzer that time. Barely. Okay, let's do one more. What is your favorite place to travel specifically?
Mexico, either Riviera Maya or Puerto Vallarta.
Yes, I like both of those places. Puerto Vallarta is the very first place I ever went to in Mexico. So that will always be near and dear to my heart. Excuse me. But see, that wasn't so bad, right?
That was fun.
Easy peasy. So, First Class family, make sure that you subscribe to our private Patreon community. And excuse me, because I'm about to cough. I got so excited. I need to clench my throat, give it some water. But make sure you subscribe to our private Patreon community where you will get access to our uniquely curated list of First Class favorite things, where we have our reading list, we have our song playlist, because we're all about self-care, our relaxing activities that we like to do, and our favorite places to travel, because, we got to be open-minded to all of the world and its experiences and cultures around us. And it's uniquely curated by all of our fabulous, phenomenal guests. Yes. So some of your answers will be added to that list, Cynthia. Thank you for being a co-author on our First Class favorite things list. And in our private Patreon community, you can also find bonus videos, transcripts, and all kinds of bonus resources. So make sure that you click the button and subscribe to our private Patreon community. Meanwhile, we're going to get back into this discussion. So we've talked about, not accepting the status quo, overcoming those feelings of failure, those feelings of overwhelm. I want to ask you this, Miss Cynthia. Do you feel like this is your passion? Well, we know that you're passionate about it, right? But did you ever have a moment in your journey where you were like, I don't know what I want to do with my life? And if so, like, what did that look like? How did you figure out, okay, this is my purpose?
I won't say that I ever had a time where I didn't know, like, no, this is what I want to be doing. Had there been times where I wish I would have gone back to school to contribute to this more? Yeah, like I wish I always somewhat regretted not going to med school. I would say I should have carried on from schooling when I graduated from OT and went on with that. And now going back and looking at it, I would have done something with, functional medicine, a doctor of osteopathy, something like that, just to help me contribute with the education of already where I am. So do I regret did I ever not know what I was going to do? No, but I wish I would have done more to contribute it and not let life just, take over and keep going the way that it does. And you keep saying, oh, I'm going to do it. And another year passes and you don't do it. So I'm doing what I should do. I'd love to do, just wish I could have done it to a higher level, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it makes me think about people that are afraid to pivot for one reason or another. You mentioned like you've kind of always liked and been in this area a little bit, but still you took a turn and you dive into the physique building. And sometimes people are really scared to go off the path in any sort of way. So what advice would you give to the leader out there that is like nervous to make a change of any sort in their life?
Do it. And if you fail, you fail, just like we talked about earlier, you're going to fail whether you stay on your path that you're on, or if you veer off and go a little bit, something in your life is going to happen where failure is going to come. So would you rather fail at trying something that you wanted to do, or would you rather fail just on settlement? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm always like, just try, and if you tried and it doesn't work out, then okay. I like keep in the back of my mind always, where at 80, where are my regrets going to lie when I'm 80? Am I going to regret not doing this, or am I going to regret not doing that? And I use that a lot to make my decisions when I'm trying to do things because that's what counts, right? When you're 80, it's not going to be the clothes you bought, the shoes that you did, none of that stuff is going to matter. What's going to matter is the mark that you left. Like I want to leave some kind of mark on this world. I want it to be a better place. I want to have, and I don't mean to sound like this, like I want my name known for the fact of what I've done, if that makes sense. Like I want to leave some kind of mark where I've helped people to become better, to live life, to make better decisions, to see life as best they can, and and enjoy it. And I suffer from severe anxiety, so I've overcome major hurdles with anxiety, and owning your own business is incredibly anxious, very anxious. I mean, it's just because you don't have this Monday through Friday paycheck. Here's your benefits. You know what I'm saying? There's no guarantee on anything. So you're constantly having to work to make sure that your income stays and continues to grow. There's no sitting still, basically. But I also suffer from anxiety as a diagnosis. And then like when I had my daughter, oh my gosh, I suffered from severe postpartum anxiety. You want to talk about overcoming a hurdle? I couldn't walk down the street with her because I thought people were hiding behind bushes and like going to jump out and grab me. That's how far my anxiety had like taken me. I was becoming like disillusioned. It didn't help also that I had my child in November of 19, and then we went into the pandemic in March of 20, so here it was just like, and so therapy was a huge one for that. And my other thing, how this comes back around, is I just had to go and face these things. So I would make myself go on these walks, and my walks would get further and further and further each time I would walk, to keep showing myself there's nobody hiding behind these bushes. Nothing is going to happen. Like, just, I wouldn't take her in the car and drive. I would get so anxious because I thought we were going to get in a wreck. Like, just my mind would go in all these ways. And then you just go. You just have to go and do it and face those things and get on that path and go and learn. Yeah, okay, something may happen, but if it does, you can work through it and keep going and find another way to get there, if that makes sense. But that's how I was trying to bring all that back around, is, you got to go on those paths of, like, that you don't want to. You have to go on those paths, because going on those paths is what's going to give you great life and great, rewards at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, that made perfect sense. So you mentioned one way to kind of not only overcome, that fear of change, but it sounded like to also overcome, anxiety, those feelings of anxiousness that can come up in various forms, is to just do it. You got to do it afraid. What are some other tips that you can share for overcoming specifically those feelings of anxiousness?
That's the big one, is, therapy helps, but in therapy, they're going to tell you have to go do, you have to go do it. Like, if you're afraid of snakes, they tell you got to get in there and start messing with snakes, and you do it in little tiny bite-sized chunks. Like, my goal would be, okay, just walk to here, right? We'll just use walking as one of the things that I had the anxiety about. And if I got there and I could turn around and come back, or if I got there and I felt okay, we can go a little bit further, but it's just taking it off in little bite-sized, manageable chunks, right? You're going to be uncomfortable during that period, but if you take it in a small little chunk, something that is doable, you're uncomfortable, but it's doable, and you do it over and over. Do it for 20 days, right? And after, on that 21st day, if we're feeling pretty good, add another quarter mile on, right? And do that for 20 days. It comes down to a lot of the stuff like in Atomic Habits. It's repetition, making things have the least amount of tension possible, and also making them very appealing to you at the same time. So however you can get from point A to B with the least amount of tension, and it's very appealing for you to go from A to B. So using like those kind of thought patterns in it, you just have to work on anxiety. It's still, like, I still have it as a business owner. It is way more manageable now than it was, but it was debilitating for a while. And that I think that honestly, for me, who I am as a leader, as a very disciplined person and stuff like that, that scared me more than like sitting in the anxiety, if that makes sense. Like, sitting there and just staying with it and making it okay scared the shit out of me. I was like, I have to get out of this. What do I do to get myself out of this? And whatever, and therapy and facing the fear, facing the anxiety.
Yeah, it makes me think of progress over perfection.
Yeah,
so much we always want to see the whole blueprint. We want to have the whole game plan, and we get overwhelmed about what's in front of us. It's like, okay, I'm here, I'm trying to get there, and we get overwhelmed with the distance between it. And that was perfect. Like, mentally, emotionally, physically, the literal distance and the metaphorical distance between where we are and the goal that we have. And we have to remember those bite-sized chunks, like you mentioned, just walking 1 block. And then once you master that, okay, now focus on walking 2 blocks. You don't have to focus on walking 100 blocks at the first time, because that's how we get more overwhelmed and more anxious and fearful of what's to come. So progress over perfection. I love it. I love it. I love it. So yeah. I have a question that I'd like to ask you. I have to ask all of my guests this question because it's a very important question, all right? The First Class Life show actually stems from the First Class Life brand, and First Class Life is actually an acronym that stands for all of the different characteristics and skills that you want to embody into your lifestyle to be able to create a first class life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. So if you would like to know, First Class Family, what that acronym stands for, there are two different things that you can do. The first is you can either go back and listen to the very first episode of the First Class Life Show, where I break down each factor and why they're important. Or you can go to firstclasslifeshop.com and just purchase your copy of the book, First Class Life, 10 Key Factors to Creating a Life Full of Purpose, Fulfillment, and Happiness. Meanwhile, we are going to ask the beautiful Cynthia, which key factor of First Class Life do you feel that you resonate with the most?
Self-discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've said that quite a bit today, but definitely self-discipline. I just, like I've said, I've had a lot of hard trials and tribulations, and the discipline is just what's kept me going through it and keeping me moving. And, you're always going to fail, but it's that discipline that you work on and you building that helps get you back up, and you keep going and you keep moving forward. And then I like to challenge myself as well. And I think if you have to have discipline to do that. So that definitely self-discipline.
Looking for amazing products to help boost your first class lifestyle? Then head over to firstclasslifeshop.com, where you can treat yourself to personal development books and workbooks, lifestyle affirmation cards, adult coloring books, mugs, notebooks, hoodies, t-shirts, leggings, and more. All products were designed to help you master your mindset, walk in your purpose, and live your first class life, because you deserve it. So treat yourself today at firstclasslifeshop.com. Again, that's firstclasslifeshop.com.
How did we guess? Well, I figured that might be the one, because like you mentioned, you have mentioned that all throughout the episode, just the different types or times that you needed to practice that self-discipline in different areas of your life. So thank you for sharing. I do have this quick question that I want to make sure I address for any of the guys that are listening, all of our first class male leaders out there. So, we've been talking a lot about the female body and the things that she goes through and things like that. What ways can a male help in this situation or be beneficial, or, what can they take away from this conversation?
One, get educated about just what your partner is going through with the phase in their life. If you're in, a lot of couples are trying to have children. So if you're in the fertility time and you're going through the clinics and doing all of that kind of work, just go with your wife or go with your partner or whoever it is, so that you can understand what they're dealing with and the pressure. It's a lot of pressure on them, and a lot of decisions, quick decisions that have to be made. And so it's much easier to have somebody to lean on and make those decisions together, so that if the decision doesn't turn out the way you thought it was, there's not even more of that guilt on the woman feeling like she's a failure when it comes to that period. And then if you're on the side of perimenopause or menopause, you're, with your spouse or your partner in that time, is again, learning, read up on it a little bit, understand what menopause actually is, and then be empathetic to it. But also, if your partner is experiencing a lot of the symptoms that come with it, you're seeing severe mood swings, irritability, there's a lot of tension and things like that, know that it's really not them, it is the hormones, but there are things that they can do to reduce those and help them find ways to alleviate those or to work on those symptoms. Because the woman doesn't have to suffer. If she is suffering through either one of those, the fertility point or around the menopause time, they don't have to. They can actually feel a whole lot better. And it's just a matter of getting hormones balanced, making sure gut health is right, taking care of themselves, things like that, things that I help these women do. So I would just say, I just come back to it. I don't know. It went viral. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it went viral on TikTok. It went viral on Instagram. It was this woman, she was wearing a purple suit, and she was interviewing men in Central Park what they knew about female anatomy. And it was absolutely hilarious, because not one man knew anything of the questions that she was asking. And it was just like, oh my gosh. And then so I turned around and asked my husband some of these questions and he didn't know. And I was like, oh my God, so it was just like, just get educated, because as women, we're pretty educated on you guys. So I feel like it should come back and be the same for us and have an understanding. And if you have an understanding, then you're better able to help your spouse, your partner, or whatever, to be happier, to feel better. And then your relationship is so much better when you're doing that. I can't tell you how many women I've helped get pregnant and how many women I want to say we've sort of saved marriages by helping them feel better and feeling, because like the women, they don't feel attracted, when they're having all this, it takes away from their confidence and their how they feel about themselves and being attractive. Even if your spouse is telling you, you look great and stuff like that, they've still got all this turmoil going on inside. So you've got to get them in a spot where they feel good and they work on this strength and, confidence and all that kind of stuff to help them so that your relationship is in a much, much better place. And then everybody lives a happy life.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that. And I have not seen that video, but I'm definitely going to Google it now because I'm sure it is just so funny.
It's like a minute long. And I just sat there with my jaw dropped the whole time. Like, the answers that these guys were giving was just like, oh my God.
I can't believe it.
Oh, it's hilarious.
So, we've talked a lot about the way that it could impact you. And so, there may be some first class family out there listening that is like, well, this doesn't apply to me. I'm not having these same struggles or anything like that. Maybe you're feeling good all around, but, we hope and pray that everyone lives a nice long life. And so eventually you're going to get to some of these stages. But either way, why is it important for high achieving leaders to pay more attention to their gut health?
Okay. So yeah, your leaders, your A-type personalities are the ones that will go, right? We're under chronic stress all the time. And I know I keep talking about fertility and menopause, but I work with women and men. I work with men too, even though I do focus on women's health just because they have more hormone issues, but I work with men too, high achieving ones that work like doctors, lawyers, CEOs, pilots, like all this kind of stuff that either have these hectic schedules, like the doctors and pilots, they're working like these swing shift schedules all the time, right? So their circadian rhythm is all screwed up. Or you've got these high CEOs and constantly going. So this is chronic stress that we're under all the time, which elevates cortisol levels. Okay. And when we have cortisol levels elevated, I'm sure we've all heard of that, but cortisol is a hormone. Okay. I know people say cortisol, but they don't have a true understanding. It's a hormone. And hormones travel in packs, okay? So if we get one hormone off, the others will follow. And if you stay under this chronic tension and this chronic stress for a long time, you're going to have all these other hormonal imbalances go on. And the next one that typically follows is insulin, because when we have elevated cortisol levels up in our bloodstream, it keeps glucose floating around in the bloodstream. So we release more insulin to try and disperse that insulin or glucose and get it out of our bloodstream. So then we're elevating cortisol. Now we're elevating insulin. So now we're elevating inflammation in our system. Okay. And this can start to wreak havoc on gut health. It can start to lead to issues. This is so simplified, but it starts to lead with gut health, the lining issues, the permeability issues in our gut, which can lead to leaky gut, or you get that generic diagnosis of IBS, IBD, IBDC, whatever it may be. That's a generic term that your doctor's throwing at you because he really doesn't know what's going on. He just knows that your gut is inflamed. Seriously. It could be what we call SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. It could be H. pylori. It could be candida. It could be leaky gut, like I talked about. There's so many different things that it could be, but you have to address that. So again, those A-type, high-achieving personalities are the kind that think more, harder, better, longer, stronger all the time. And you're actually doing yourself a disservice because you're going to start to shut down. Your body's going to start to give you these feedback symptoms. It's going to start kicking things back to you, telling you you're not operating as good as you should be. You may notice that you have a little brain fog. You may notice that your energy's down, changes in your skin, changes in your mood. Like all of those kind of things are things that your body's trying to tell you, you need to change it up. So actually learning how to get into what we call the parasympathetic state, which is the rest and digest state, more times throughout the day will make you a better leader. It will make you a more high achieving individual because you're learning how to balance yourself better and you're keeping those hormones down in optimal levels. Okay, so coming back to those three things: regular sleep schedules. Now, I know those that have the swing shifts, like I talked about, the pilots and the doctors and things like that, doing your best on your days off to have regular sleep schedules. And even when you have swing shifts, still practicing the same before you go to sleep ritual and the same morning ritual that you have. Those are big cues for up here to tell cortisol levels, when to release, when to blunt, et cetera, et cetera. Getting hydrated, making sure that water intake is coming in. Everything operates way better when we're hydrated. And then moving, okay, getting your steps in. Take your meetings, walking if you can, take the stairs, whatever you can do to keep your body moving throughout the day. Get away from behind that desk. Can't tell you how many clients I have that sit at a desk and then they start to have this terrible shoulder pain from being in this position all day. Like, it's just a cascading effect, but get those steps in. So if you can make those three things a habit and a consistent habit, that can go a very, very long way on balancing those hormones. And I know that was a very long-winded answer, but it's very complex. And when it comes to that, because that doesn't discriminate male, female. That's just how the body operates when it comes to those kind of things. And when you stay chronically stressed and you're chronically cranking on that cortisol, and then that insulin comes, and then the next thing after insulin, we start to have estrogen, we start to have testosterone, we start to have inflammation, our CRP markers, which is a systemic inflammation marker. It starts to elevate. We have LDL cholesterol that typically follows when insulin's high. So, and those are all hormones. And that's what I'm saying. They just keep going and going and going. And you're going to crash, and you're going to crash hard.
Mm-hmm. Did y'all hear that? You're going to crash hard. So please take all of this, write it in your notes, pay attention, make sure you reach out to the lovely Cynthia, which I know all throughout this episode, we kind of gotten a gist of what it is that you do, right? You've shared so many great gems about the importance of being mindful of our gut health and the things that our bodies are going through, no matter what stage of life we're in and no matter whether we're male or female. But tell the world exactly, how do you impact the world as a leader today?
Through this coaching, I do coaching. I do one-on-one coaching with clients, those that need a lot of help, where we dig into lab work. We really dig deep into your health and figure out what's going on if you're having a lot of issues. Or I have a program that I launch about every 6 weeks, and that's a group coaching program. Again, you learn about labs, you learn about gut health, we learn about the thyroid, all the hormones, you learn how to calculate your calories, your nutrition, how it all impacts your body. So I have those two things that I am, trying to slowly make my stamp on this great world with teaching people about it. And, it is a weight loss program if you need to lose weight, but it's also a health program. And that's where I'm really trying to differentiate my program in this community, because we have a lot of fad crash diets, and those wreak hell on your metabolic health. And then typically those are the clients I get, honestly. They've crash dieted, they've fad dieted, they've done it for years, and now they're in this metabolic hell, this weight loss resistance. They come to me and try and fix them. So I'm really trying to get this program out there and get ahead of it. Get ahead of you doing this crash dieting, get ahead of you doing this fad dieting, because dieting is exhausting. Who wants to, who does? It's mentally torturous. Who wants to do that all the time? Don't you just want to lose the weight once and be done with it? And learn how to live your life? Seriously. And that's what I try to teach people is do it once and be done. Quit cycling through this shit. Excuse me.
No, you're fine.
I'm
quit cycling.
Okay. I'm quit cycling through this. Who wants to do that? Who wants to spend all their money and time on it? It's terrible. Just do it once and be done. So that's what my mission, and that's how I'm trying to lead in this community, is to teach people through my programs, whether you work with me one-on-one or you do my group coaching, is teaching you about your body so that you understand this. You know the questions to go and ask your doctor. You know how to read this stuff that they're kicking back to you, and you don't get dismissed or bypassed or hey, take these medications and this will make it fine, right? Because you're going to pay the piper somewhere if you keep taking medications. But teaching you, I really want to lead and help people understand about your body, because it's simple. Our body's really simple. What's gotten complicated is the food sources that are being brought to us, the medical society pushing the prescription pills down our throat. That has royally screwed up our system and made things complicated. And if you learn how to take all that stuff out and get back to the basics, you can live a long, healthy, fantastic, full, vibrant life.
Oh, yes. I love that. And I am not a fan of working out or exercising or anything like that, unless it's disguised as dancing. But what I've found is that the best programs actually teach you not just about losing weight, but the health, overall, the things that you're going through, what your body's going through, the hormones, like you just said. And so that sounds amazing and so important. And it also gives you a sense of control and a sense of power, because, sometimes when doctors have the titles, we feel like we have to yield to everything they're saying, but they're not always right. They're humans just like us, and you know your body the best. You know what you're feeling, what you're going through. And so when you have this information that you would learn from Cynthia, then it empowers you to take control of your life. So thank you so much. Don't worry. We will have all of her info right in the show notes, so you can just click away. Speaking of which, let everybody know where they can find you on these internet streets, how they can sign up for your program, how they can follow you, all of the things.
Cynthia Williams Wellness. Everything is Cynthia Williams Wellness. My website is cynthiawilliamswellness.com. My Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook, my YouTube. Everything you can go, which that's a lot of places, but you can find, if you just go to my website, you'll find information about coaching with me one-on-one, or my group coaching session that I have started. That it runs it's a 12-week program, and we started about every 6 weeks or so, that you can get in and do it with a group of individuals, so that you're not the only one. I think that's a big thing too, is a lot of people think how they feel or what they're going through, nobody else is going through, nobody else understands. And so kind of when you go through it with a group that's in living it the same as you, it helps you be more successful, because you're not the only one. And you're not. As I've said on this podcast, I've been through it. I've lost weight twice in my life, once at 20 pounds and once at 30 pounds. So again, I know what that struggle's like, and it's not fun, and I don't ever want to do it again.
Yes. Make sure you reach out. Again, all of the links are over there in the show notes, so you can just click on whatever link that you need. Cynthia, do you have any final advice on how we can continue to grow as high achieving leaders and create our first class life?
Challenge. Just keep challenging yourself. Keep challenging. Don't be afraid to fail. Keep moving forward. Just stay hard, as David Goggins says. Stay hard.
Thank you. And thank you, First Class family, for tuning in yet again for another episode of the First Class Life Show. I know that you could be doing anything in the world, but you have spent the past hour here with us, and we greatly appreciate it. And just continue to go out there, maximize your impact, share, like, subscribe, comment, do all the things of this episode, because I know it was some great gems being shared from the beautiful Cynthia. So make sure you tune in every week as we drop a new episode of the First Class Life Show, and continue to create your first class life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness, because you deserve it. Bye.
Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. But please be sure to subscribe to the First Class Life Show. And don't forget to rate, leave a review, and join our private community, so that we can continue to provide you with great personal development conversations to help you maximize your impact while creating a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. You deserve it.